diving to the future, it's time to emerge. Lilypad Network, we're here to stay, taking you on a journey in a groundbreaking way. We're the frogs in the net, powering AI with the dubstep set. Lilypad Network, watch us rise with the beat that grooves, the tech that defies. Lilypad Network, let's dive in deep, connecting the world. One leap at a time with epic drops and froggy vibes. We're making waves. It's our Lilypad Network pride. Drop the bass, feel the surge. Jump into the future, it's time to emerge. Lilypad Network, we're here to stay, taking you on a journey in a groundbreaking way. We're the frogs in the net, powering AI with the dubstep set. Lilypad Network, watch us rise with the beat that grooves, the tech that defies. Lilypad Network pride. Lilypad Network, where the frogs turn and jump into the future, it's time to emerge. Lilypad Network, we're here to stay, taking you on a journey in a groundbreaking way. Ribbit, we're the frogs in the net, powering AI with the dubstep set. Lilypad Network, watch us rise with the beat that grooves, the tech that defies. Lilypad Network, let's dive in deep, connecting the world. One leap at a time with epic drops and froggy vibes. We're making waves. It's our Lilypad Network pride. Lilypad Network, let's dive in. Lilypad Network pride. We're making waves. It's our Lilypad Network pride.
All right. Hello. Didn't mean for the abrupt ending and then restarting there, but hello. I'm Devlin, DevRel at Lilypad. Super excited for the workshop we have today. Gonna be building a module live on Lilypad using a script I've been working on the past couple of weeks here to just try and make it as easy as possible for people of all experience to be able to build modules on Lilypad if that's what they want to do. So I'm going to be showcasing it today, running through, and hopefully everything is going to be going smooth. So first off, let's look at the script. Here's it's all open source, so we may run into some issues today. Very well may be. And if that's the case, I welcome anyone to file issues, try it themselves, make a pull request, open to contributions. This is just the beginning. It's not even technically production yet, right? It's still being iterated upon, worked on all the time. You can see the commit history. Just 18 minutes ago, I pushed something, right? So hopefully that push didn't break anything, but that's how it goes here. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started. I'm really excited to show this off, and I'm really hoping that everything goes smooth. So how do we get started? Well, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go to my work directory, right? I don't think I have anything in here, not really. So all you have to do, and this isn't going to work, create a Lilypad module, right? But we don't have this. So how do you install it? Well, it's pretty easy. If you're used to developing on Python, you probably have heard of pip. If not, it's basically, if you're from the JavaScript world, it's basically npm. It's the equivalent. I don't have to get too into details on that, but basically we're just going to run the install command with pip to create the Lilypad module. That's all you got to do. Install it. Pip will take care of itself. And all the instructions are here in the README. So you can see we're pretty much going through. I uninstalled before this, so I'm doing a fresh install. If it was previously installed and you want to update, this is the command you'd use to upgrade. So let's just go now. All we have to do, now we can run that script. So create Lilypad module, and you can either enter the project name here or just hit enter, and it'll ask you for your project name. So we're just going to go with the default here, Lilypad module. Maybe not actually. Let's call it Lilypad module sentiment demo. Okay, cool. So instead of doing those commands, I'm just going to hit code because I use VS Code. And we're going to open up that sentiment demo that it was bootstrapped for us. All right, so now we've got this blank project, what's the first thing you should do when you make a new project is view the README. So that's what we're going to do. And I have this handy little preview editor, so we don't have to view the raw markdown. We can see somewhat what it would look like on actual GitHub, right? The rendered markdown. So we've got some configuration to figure out. And again, a lot of this is iterated upon. For example, this Web3 development key will probably not be included in the constants, right? We're probably going to remove this because we don't want people to accidentally commit their keys in public repositories. There are other ways of handling this, such as using shell variables, which are a lot safer. So this was, and take note. And we do have a warning here, but a lot of these things are going to be changing to make it even easier for people. So there's a couple of prerequisites. You're going to need Docker, you're going to need GitHub, and you're going to need LP. So we have documentation on how to fund your wallet. I'm not going to go over how to use Docker or GitHub, but these are things that you need to learn beforehand. But part of this script, a big part of it, is making things like Docker as easy to use as possible. I didn't have a lot of Docker experience with starting this, and so I created scripts to make it to where you can push to Docker or run local Docker images very easily without having to be a Docker expert. So don't be too scared by Docker, but it is important to know, what you're doing a little bit beforehand. So let's get started, right? So what's the first thing we need to do? Well, let's just go through this README and let's run this script, right? So I'm going to copy and paste. We're going to download this script. We're going to run the download script to download the models. And obviously, we're getting an error. Hopefully, you guys can see my screen. Let me zoom in a bit. We're getting an error here because it's not configured. So if we just command click here, or you can view the directory, whichever you prefer, the command click in the console, the terminal, and open the download model script, we can see we have a few handy hints here, right? We have a few handy comments. So first thing we're going to want to do is, you can see, remove the following if statement code block and configure the models the module needs. Download the models and tokenizers for your module from the Hugging Face Model Hub. So here's some instructions for those that are new to working with Hugging Face. It tells you right here how to do this, and I already kind of know how. So we're just going to search here for the model I'm going to use. Oh, sorry, we got to go to, this is the documentation. Let's go to the Hugging Face website. And I think this is the one right here. We're going to be using Distilbert base uncased font. Yep, this is the one. So if you go here and go to use this model transformers, I'm going to getting mixed up with module and model. I apologize in advance. All right, but the module is the Lilypad module. The model is the LLM that we're using, right? So anyway, we're going to take this stuff here, right? So you can see this is how you use the pipeline. This is how you load the model directly. And we're going to be using the model directly, but all we need for this script is the actual model identifier. So I'm going to copy this here, right? And then let's go back to our code. And you can see we can just put the model identifier here. You can now remove this to do. Is there anything else we need to do? Well, yes, actually. So the auto tokenizers and so you can see this right here. So not every single model is going to require these, and that's why it's commented out in case yours doesn't, but ours will use these. We're going to go that, and we're also going to see update requirements.txt because this is going to be required for our Docker file. So it's uncomment transformers there. So now we can use the auto tokenizer and the sequence for the model. Now let's see if this works. I think it should work. Let's rerun the download script, download models, and let's look at our file directory. So you can see that we don't currently have a models directory. So if we run this, models downloaded successfully. And now we have a models directory right here with the models ready to go. Perfect. Awesome. Now let's see. What else do we need to do? Let's go back to the README, right? Actually, let's look at this README. So what's next? We need to build the Docker image. Now, obviously, we're not telling it to do anything. We're just going to go through the steps and see what happens. So let's run the Docker image. The Docker repo is not configured, right? And that makes sense. So we need to go into our constants, and our Docker repo here is going to have to get configured. So I set this to my username slash, and we're going to call this Lilypad module, sentiment demo. Let's try it again. So for those that don't know Docker or Docker Hub or whatever, this is just basically, it's actually not a repo. It's actually the tag that we'll be using. You can see the script that we're running here for those that do know Docker, and you're free to edit this. Obviously, you might need to actually, depending on what you're doing with your module. But yeah, all the code is here included inside for you to inspect and see what it's doing. Where are we? Oh yeah, sorry, I've refactored this recently. It's all in one place now. So we're automatically building for the AMD 64 on Linux. If we were to build locally and test this locally, then we would be using our native. Okay, so it looks like the Docker image was built successfully now. Awesome. Well, what's next? And you can see we have certain flags here to help you out. So for example, when you're ready to push to Docker Hub and not test locally, but run it on the Lilypad network, then you can push it to Docker Hub. And no cache if you're having any issues with your Docker image, invalidated dependencies or whatever. This will help you just make sure that it's actually building everything. Anyway, let's actually attempt to run the module now, right? We have the Docker image. We have the model downloaded. What happens if we try and run the model? Well, we don't have anything set up. Right, so let's go to run inference, where it's telling us to go here on our error message, no job configured, implement the model's job before running the module. So implement the job for the module here at the run inference script. So this is, let me get caught up here. This is where we actually run the job, right? So let's go back to our Hugging Face model, right? And let's learn how to use this model that we decided to download. And you can see it actually tells us how to use it right here. So we're going to copy and paste most of this. Actually, let's pull it up side by side. Hopefully it's big enough. Oh, come on. Okay, it doesn't want to do a side by side. Give me 1 second. Okay, well, enough with the side by side. I'm using a virtual screen, causing some issues. It's fine. We won't do the side by side. So let's copy and paste this, bring it into my VS Code, and let me remove this side window. So run inference. So let's just put it right here. Let's see what it does. So import torch. Okay, so let's leave this torch here. And not only that, but we're going to have to add that to our requirements, which is something. Well, we'll get to that. Let's not worry about that right now. So right, torch, transformers, and we're actually using Distilbert tokenizer, and so we don't need these transformers. So let's remove that comment. And we have the tokenizer and the model here. Let's read through this a little bit, and we can actually see we actually have them right here, but they're from the autos. So we're going to replace that tokenizer and that model with these here. So instead of using auto tokenizer, and we're going to use the Distilbert tokenizer, and we're going to use the Distilbert sequence. Awesome. And what else did this do? Yeah, let's pull all this. And put it right here. And now we got to fix our indentation. Okay, let's remove this for a second. Okay, so let's see what we're doing. Most of this is copy and pasted from the Hugging Face model, right? But we should understand a little bit what's going on. So we're using Torch to run the model, and then we're getting some things back, right? So, oh, this actually, this here. Protected class. So let's output equals. Oh, here's the model and tokenizer. Okay. Sorry, let me look at this code again real quick. So tokenizer, inputs, and then torch. Okay, yeah. So this is all in the correct order. Awesome. So now what happens if we try and run this job? All right, let's run the module. Oh, I didn't save the script. Save the script. And look, we're still blocking here. And why? Because we didn't delete this code block. So let's go here and remove the following print and exit statements and create the job model. So we've created the job model. So we can remove these now. Thank you, helpful thing. Now it's asking for us to enter our input. Let's just say Lilypad is cool. And we have a failure. And why is that? Well, let's, yeah, I didn't think this was correct. Let's see. So run job, and we're passing in the input, the model, and the tokenizer, which is what this takes. And we're returning, okay. So this, one second. Let me figure out what the issue is here. Nothing ever goes smooth, right? Yeah, so I'm actually going to take, this makes sense. Take these and the input too. I'm going to take all these. Sorry, we're just going to make, so this is where I went wrong. We're making the tokenizer and the model. We're passing into the output run job, and this is where we actually are going to use it. So here, fix this again. Oh, we've already got the token. So input tokenizer. We're not going to use this hello, my dog is cute. We're going to remove that. And we're going to use this one. Let's remove this truncation padding because our model didn't ask for that. Let's leave it how the model asked for it. So again, we're getting it from, pull up my, right here. We're still using this code. Just the only difference is instead of using this hello, my dog is cute, we're passing in our own custom input. Okay, now let's try again. Let me make sure this is good. Yeah. Okay, let's run the model. Lilypad is cool. Executing. Let's give it a second, you guys. Let's open up the file directory. You can see we don't currently have an outputs directory, right? So if this succeeds, it should create one. And so let's see, outputs, output path. It normally shouldn't take this long, so I'm wondering if it's getting hung up somewhere. It's running the command. Oh, my bad. We need to run this locally. I was attempting to run that on the Lilypad network. It's not configured at all for that. In fact, that tells me I should update to add some better error messaging. So good thing we're doing this. So let's run this locally. Enter. So Lilypad is cool. There we go. Look at right away. Success. And look, we have an outputs result. Lilypad is cool. Status error. Name model is not defined. Well, we have some issues here, don't we? So let's go back. What are these issues? So the name model is not defined. Models. Output. Let me see here. So we're running the job. Output equals input, input. And then we try this. And then the output now equals the results of the run job. Return the output. And it's just this. Model's not defined. Okay. Well, let's see if we can fix this a little bit. So instead of doing model equals this, I think we're forgetting something actually from our code. That's why this isn't working. I forgot something. Yes, right here. We're not doing this. We're not doing any of that. That is my bad. So let's take this with torch. Yeah, we're not. Okay, that's my fault. Got to do what the code says, do what the model tells us to do, right? Now let me make sure that this is correct here. So we access it, model equals, yeah, and this is all, yeah, this is still the same. So instead of doing this output equals this, we're just going to do output equals what the model tells us to. And this is all code from the Hugging Face model, how to use it. I didn't copy and paste correctly. My bad. Let's try running it again. So cool. We're going to add a so in there, right? Lilypad is so cool. The model's not defined. Well, let's try rebuilding the Docker image. Oh, and also, we never added torch to our requirements. Let's go ahead and add that. So this Docker image probably still won't work, but we can try. I love Lilypad. Yeah, not going to work. So to update what happened. So we updated the run inference script. Every time, anytime you update anything in the source directory, if we look at our Docker file, our Docker file copies a few things here: the requirements.txt, the source directory, and the models. So anytime you change the Docker file, the models directory, the source directory, or the requirements.txt, you need to rebuild the Docker image, whether you're doing it locally or whether you're doing it on the network. You have to rebuild the Docker image because that's what it actually reads from, not your local code. So we're going to rebuild the Docker image with the changes we made to run inference because that's in the source directory. And as you can see, we got different error messages because torch was in the requirements. So now we've added torch to our requirements. And now we rebuild the Docker image again. And now it should work. Well, not saying it should work, but we should at least get a different error message, right? Should work better than before. Now, building these Docker images does take a while sometimes, especially when you're pushing, and especially as these modules get more and more complicated. Sorry, excuse me. It will take some significant downtime sometimes. Perfect time to stretch your legs, chat about the weather, get some water, whatever you got to do. And it's honestly, I feel like Docker images take a long time to build is a blessing in disguise because I spend way too much time sitting. Perfect time to get up off your chair. Another good tip. All right, let's now run the module again. Let's just do hello world, right? The classic. And what's this? We're getting another error. Well, let's read it. And that's because we're having a NumPy error. So it's telling us to downgrade to NumPy some version less than 2, right? So important to read these error messages. And we can make them more clear, and we'll work on that. But for now, this one's pretty clear if you read it. So we're going to downgrade to NumPy less than version 2. And we're going to rebuild the Docker image, right? Hopefully you guys can read this. So we're just adding this here to our requirements.txt. Now you can take another sip of water. You can stretch your legs again, pet your dog, right? Forced breaks, thanks to Docker. And how long did the last one take? It shouldn't take too long. Last one took about a minute, so this we'll expect about the same time, maybe a bit longer because we added a new requirement. Let's open up the run inference again. Boom. All right, should almost be done. We can run this module again. $12 out of 14. It's been a minute. We still got 2 steps left. It's a lot. Okay, there we go. All right, let's run this module locally. That was easy. Was it though? We can make it easier, right? It was easy. We can make it easier. Execute that Lilypad module. And look at this, we've got a new result, just positive. Well, let's make this result better, right? And this is pretty easy to do. There's nothing magic to this. So instead of just returning the output, or instead of just having the output be this, let's make it a dictionary, and we're gonna do two things. Let's return our original input, and this is a sentiment analysis bot, right? So we're gonna define this as the sentiment. There we go. Now we can Docker build one more time. And let's see our new output. And this should be a lot more helpful, this new output. This positive, negative. This is great. We're getting something back, which is huge. And all we're really doing now is we're just reformatting the output to be something more helpful. So people could probably guess and say what this result's going to be. Let's do something negative, right? Let's do a negative one. So let's run the module. And this bald guy is stinky, right? Let's run that. Let's watch the result change in real time. Boom, this bald guy is stinky. That is a negative sentiment. That is not a positive sentiment, right? Let's run it again. Be like, Lilypad is so awesome. Run it one more time. And we have a working module right now. This is running it. Look, Lilypad is so awesome. Positive sentiment. Boom. So you have a working local Lilypad module just like that. There were a few hiccups along the way, nothing we couldn't solve, right? You just got to make sure you're reading the Lilyface model documentation correctly for the model you're using. Make sure you're following the steps correctly in the script, and the steps will get better. This workflow will only get better and improved. So depending on when you see this, when you're watching this, when you're using this script, maybe some things are already changed. There are some messaging we can make more clear, but for the most part, it really guardrails you, keeps you on the right path, and helps you get started with a module that makes sense. And these really helpful scripts here to be able to download the model easily, to run the module easy, and to build the Docker image easily. You can do all these things yourself. You can do Lilypad run or Docker run, but this way it requires a lot less memorization. And just with a few variables that you define in your constants, a few values, you can get up and running really quickly, really easily, right? So for the next part, actually run this on the Lilypad network. It requires me to push this to GitHub. So we can try that real quickly, and we'll see if this works. So let me create a new repo. I'm going to call this Lilypad module sentiment demo, and we're going to have a blank repo. Oh, I am the owner. Cool. So let's do, I already have it. So let's do this one. When you run the script, it initializes Git for you. So that's real nice, right? So add that remote origin. Beautiful. Let's commit all of our code. Initial commit. Git push origin main. Perfect. Okay. So now if we refresh this, boom, look at that, up and running. We could have edited the README and stuff, but it's fine, right? We can worry about that later. Let's go to constants. And so there's a few things we need to do here, right? So first off, if we try to, we can't use our local Docker image. We need to push the Docker image to Docker Hub. So we can run the same script, Docker build, but we just pass in the push flag. Let's do that. And it might error. I'm not sure if I don't think these constants actually require for the build to go through correctly. I think we can define these after the fact, which is great. So next we need the module repo. Let's just pull that. I can type it in, but we'll just pull it from here. Oops. Don't need the HTTPS. Leave that out. Module repo and the target commit. There's a few ways you can get this. You can either go to your commits here and pull it from GitHub. A lot easier way to stay in your terminal. We'll just open up a new one. You can just do git log and just copy and paste that right there. Hit Q to exit. Boom. And the Web3 development key I will be entering privately. 1 second. Let's see if this is going first. Sweet. And if you guys somehow steal this key, just so you know, there's nothing on there. So this a burner development wallet has nothing on there but a few LP. But be my guest. But I will still be keeping it private anyway, just to follow best practices and show people how to stay safe. So I'm gonna finish this to build, and then I'm gonna finish building this, and then off screen I will take it off screen for a second and just pass in my key, and then we'll be on our way. And then we'll attempt to run it on the network and see how things go. We can see to run it on the Lilypad network, if you didn't want to use my command, all you have to do is do Lilypad run, and then you enter the repo, the link to your repo, and then the target commit SHA that you want to use, pass in your key, and then the input. Now, I do want to say a few things. We are constantly improving over here, constantly iterating. No promises, but we do have a issue. It's currently for the community. I may take it on myself, but because I was working with the CLI so much, it was annoying me. But we do have currently a community issue to replace this structure here. So during local development, you can test your module without having to upload to GitHub. That would be a huge change. I don't think I have the link to the issue now on me, unfortunately. I believe it was issue number 81. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. That'd be pretty crazy, like Rain Man status, if I remembered correctly. And the official Lilypad, let's see if we can find it real quick, because Docker takes forever, right, to build. This is what I'm talking about. Especially when you're pushing, it takes so long to find the issue. 81, that'd be pretty. Is it 84? It's 84. I was close. So yes, as a module builder, it'd be handy to include the directory. Yes, this is so nice. Definitely, if anyone's looking to contribute to Lilypad, I feel like this isn't too difficult. It'll require you to dig in a little bit to our CLI, but it's nothing that you can't do. It'd be an awesome change. It'd really help local development, so that you don't have to push to GitHub to test your module and stuff. So just want to throw that out there. In addition to other changes we're making, right? I can't share too much, but that's one thing that we have an open issue for that I personally would love to see happen. So if the community can make it happen, I'd like to see it happen. Still building. What's that? Okay, we're exporting the layers now. We're exporting the image, so it shouldn't be too much longer before the remote Docker image on Docker Hub is ready to go. And if I pull up Docker Hub, I don't think I have anything sensitive in here. We should be able to see. No, not yet. You can see my previous tests, but not the current one just yet. But when it's finished, we should see it in there. This is taking a bit longer than I anticipated, but it's okay. Like I said, hopefully I'm sitting. Hopefully you guys are standing right now, getting your stretches in, doing your thing. And this is the final step, so it shouldn't. After this is done, yeah, 8 out of 8. This should be ready to go. I am so ready for this to run on Lilypad. LP rich, yeah. You want to steal my LP? Don't, because I need that for development. But be my guest. You can have it. We do have a free faucet, you guys. You can get LP every day from the faucet. You don't got to steal mine. All right. Look on our docs.lilypad.tech. We have instructions on how to fund your wallet, get started on module development. In fact, we have a brand new module guide. I think it's a blog currently from Phil. Check that out. It's an amazing. Here, let me see if I can find it real quick. It's right here. I'll put it up on the chat. I'll put it up on the as a banner. This guide, brand new guide, right, from Phil, another DevRel here at Lilypad. Awesome work. It really super thorough, in depth. It doesn't use my script. It's more of a if you want to do this from scratch type of deal. Repository does not exist or may insufficient scope authorization failed. Okay, looks like I don't have authorization to push to my Docker, my remote repo. Again, I am not a Docker expert, So I'm not too sure why I'm having this error. Let's see if we can debug it real quick. And if not, then, I might have to fix the script post recording and figure out why. I must have already had a Docker repo initialized when I attempted this before. And maybe wasn't building from a new one. So maybe there's something you have to do in Docker or in Docker Hub to create that initial image that's causing issues. Again, I don't know Docker, which is a big reason why I made this script, to try and make it easy for people that don't know Docker. But along the way, I may have made an issue somewhere. So let's see if we can fix this real quick. So let's see. We're doing push. So we're pushing from our OS arch. Oh no, we're pushing from AMD 64. Otherwise, we'll be using our OS arch. We're tagging it with the Docker repo /latest. Let me take a quick look here at our Docker repo. Oh, that's why it's just Devlin and not Devlin Rocha. Okay, well, now we got to redo the Docker build all over again. Isn't it awesome, you guys? Oh, yeah. And hope that it works this time. How long did the previous build take? 60, 120, 180. Okay, so about 5.5 minutes. So buckle up for another 5.5 minute ride. And I'll try and keep y'all company while we wait. Don't know what let's look through our directory a little bit here. Let's explain while this builds. Let's go over a little more about the file structure of this create script, right? So when you first get it, these are annoying. These constants from building and running the scripts. It's so annoying how they make all these pi caches. Yeah, as we've gone over, the constants.py, be careful with Web3 development key, but everything else is super safe to commit. We'll probably be removing this from constants.py so that it doesn't accidentally committed and you can manage this on your own. But be wary. Next, we have our scripts. We have the Docker build script. We went over this briefly, but basically you have the push flag to push to Docker Hub. Otherwise, it builds a local Docker image. And the no cache flag, which can be used either way. Whenever you push, no cache is passed in automatically. So this is more for local development. If you're having issues with your local Docker image, this will make it to where it's not using anything from your cache and building it all from scratch. But it's pretty simple stuff, basic Docker build X. When we target the platform, if you're pushing, it uses Linux AMD 64. If you're doing it locally, it will detect your OS arc. And unless you're on Mac or Linux, if you're on Windows, unfortunately, it's not supported right now for local. But if you push that to a Docker Hub using a supported architecture, such as Linux AMD by default, then you should still be able to run that Docker image because it's not running a local on your machine. So cool stuff. We all love Docker. It may take a long time to build, but it enables some really cool things. And that's pretty much it. So let's look at the next script, download models. We went over this a little bit in the beginning. It gives you some handy instructions here that basically tells you what it's doing. It's not doing anything too crazy, but we're just getting the model tokenizer and sequence from the models itself. We're using transformers, which is a really handy library from Hugging Face to do this and get the necessary files that are required to run the model, and then just downloading them locally to our models. And this is important. And why this is important is because we go to our Docker file, we copy this models directory. In this case, we're only using a single model, but if you were to use multiple, we're copying the entire models directory, and we're using that. We're actually putting into our Docker image. And this is what enables you to use Lilypad without, with these models locally embedded. You don't need to access the internet or do anything like that because they're already pre-downloaded and embedded into the Docker image. So really important that you download the models. There are, of course, other ways to include the models in your Docker image. You can do whatever you want. This is the method that I found worked the best personally because it doesn't require re-downloading every single time you push to Docker or something like that. You can download them locally, and it speeds up development a lot. And last, we have the run module script. Come on, build Docker image, build. I'm running out of time. The run module script, again, just makes it super easy to run the module. You can, of course, input these commands yourself, Docker run, and then pass in the environment variable for the input, and then tell it where to print it to, right? Or in Lilypad's example, if you want to run it on the network and not locally, it's very similar, but slightly different. You make sure you pass in your private key hidden. Don't publicize that. And then, the input as the environment variable. Nothing too crazy here. It's just to streamline, simplify development. Okay, here we go. 90 seconds into exporting layers, almost there. And lastly, the run inference script. Now, these 3 scripts here, you may need to edit slightly. But for the most part, especially when it comes to like the input and stuff, you might need to change the environment variables. But for the most part, these scripts should be ready to go no matter what module you're building. Now, obviously, run inference being in the source directory, you might be able to tell this is where the magic happens, so to speak. This is where you input your module logic. This is where you will need to be changing the code drastically to accommodate the job that you want your model to accomplish. This is where you put all the logic, right? Oh, here we can add this back in. So it updates. It's not going to make it to this Docker build, but next time it'll make it to where it'll update the status with success or error. So if we look at our current output, it doesn't have that, but normally it should, and that's what this is for. And then, yeah, just some basic error handling. It's nothing too crazy. And look at that, right on time. Oh, I thought it psyched me out. I thought it was done. And we went over the Docker file just earlier. Briefly, let's go. So yeah, this is just, I mean, it's all commented. Install system dependencies, set the working directory, and we install the dependencies and the requirements of txt, which is why it's very important to get that accurate. Or we copy the file and we use pip install to install everything in there. We make the outputs directory that stores the outputs of our modules. We copy the source code, copy the models that we've downloaded. We set some environment variables. This is for Hugging Face to use the models offline and to tell them where the models live. And then we declare the entry point. And this is so that when we run the Docker image, it's going to run Python and then source run inference, which is the default model. So if you change any of these file names, it's really important that you make sure that things are configured correctly. If you want to change this run inference to be something else, you need to make sure that you change the entry point. So this is scaffolded for you, but be careful if and things are allowed to change. You can change the source code absolutely, but mostly file names and things like that. If you're going to change them, just do a command Shift F, right, and search locally. I mean globally in the entire project, and you can see, oh, we're declaring the entry point not only in the Docker file, but in the TMPL file. And this is something I actually forgot to change also, because the Lilypad TMPL file is something that I've just somehow completely ignored up until this point. But you can see here, it's mostly when you run this create script, it's mostly set up for you. And luckily, this doesn't get copied into the Docker file, so we can edit this without needing to redo the Docker build because we didn't include the image here. So all I'm going to do is include the image. Let's do Devlin Rocha / Lilypad. Nope, not a capital. Module sentiment demo latest. Okay, sweet. And look at that. It's done building. So with the Lilypad module.json, it should come scaffolded perfectly for you. The only thing you will need to change is the image, which is left blank. You'll need to put this pretty much the same exact thing that you declare here. It is just the Docker repo with the latest image tag on top, tagged to latest by default. You can, of course, change this to whatever you want. Now, let's see if this will run. Python M, run module. We're not going to run this locally. Enter my input. Oh, I didn't do the Web3 key. We'll let it error out and show you guys. Error, because this is going to error. Or maybe it's not. It should error. It should error a lot sooner than now. Oops. So when does this get passed in? So it's probably attempting to run this with an empty string. So that's not correct. So let me, again, bring this off the screen for a second. I'm going to input some super secret information. You guys will not know. Super secret. Oh, here, can we refresh this? Look at that. There it is, live on Docker Hub. So you might need to set up Docker Hub and Docker yourself. It's not a part of this demo. I'm getting my private key. 1 second. Don't look, you guys. I know you can't see anyway, but still, just look away. Cover your eyes. Okay, I will not open the constants file ever again. Anything else? No. Okay. Oops. Okay, we're back. And I'm just gonna clear the terminal. I'm gonna run script. Lilypad is the best. And it looks like we're getting issues again. It should not take this long, and I'm not even seeing. So maybe there must be an issue with my run module script. Glad we're doing this, I can fix it. So I'm gonna try and input the command myself. Just instead of using this script, I'm gonna actually type in lilypad run, etc. So I'm gonna pull this off screen again. 1 second to actually I need to input my instead of using constants, I need to input my Web3 key as a so let me show you guys how to do that. I'm not going to actually set it, but I'll show you guys how to set it. So instead of doing, here's a quick example. So you can do export test equals haha. And then you can access that. So if we go echo $test, it'll say haha. So I'm going to do the same thing, but with my Web3 development key. And this is how we're going to probably recommend people do it going forward instead of using constants. So I wanted to show you there what I'm doing exactly. So export Web3 development key equals some value I will not share. Clear the terminal. Boom. Okay. So now I can show you guys because I've removed it. And I'm just gonna, I think I have it copied here. So we're gonna type it in manually. We're gonna type it all. I'm not even gonna copy and paste. Lilypad run. Oh, I'm also not using DemoNet. That's my bad. That's fine. So now we need the module repo. With the latest commit, which by the way, okay, that's fine. Oops. This commit should work. I keep hitting the top part there. Just like that. Let's go back here to C, and then we need to pass in Web3 private key. And then we do Web3 development key here. -I input equals I love Lilypad. Don't we all? Let me just double check. I'm just gonna run it. Why is this not working? This is very strange. Okay, my CLI is not working apparently for Lilypad. I'm not sure what the issue is here. Unfortunate. Because I can't even. Let me open a new terminal. Let me close these completely. What I can also try is I have a Let me try running a cow save real quick. So Lilypad run. Cow say, let's do network. Oops. Demo net. This is for testing. And yeah, I'm having some issues with my CLI. So I'm not sure if this is a local installation issue or what, but my CLI is just not running correctly right now, which is very unfortunate. I was looking forward to running this on the network. But I think this is out of the scope of the workshop. I don't know if it's an installation issue or something else, maybe a new bug that popped up in production. But I cannot run this, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to call it there, I suppose. As far as the workshop, as far as the demo goes. Well, hopefully it was helpful. Even though we couldn't run it on the actual network, we still got a local module working and running. Theoretically, this should work on the Lilypad network if we could run the command. It's very unfortunate we can't. But please, 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 if anyone's interested in building on Lilypad, try out this script. Let me know what you think of it. If you have any improvements, suggestions, make a pull request, make an issue. I'm happy to work on this. I think it's in a really good spot. Obviously, it's not perfect. We saw a few issues today, but I'll probably fix a majority of those that we ran into by the end of the day today. And I'm sure there's a lot more that we didn't run into, right? And so the more people that we get using this and stress testing it, the better. So let me throw this up one more time real quick. There we go. So create Lilypad module. There's the repo. Read the README. It's available on pip. I'm also in the Lilypad Discord. If you're not in the Discord, make sure you join. We've got a link for that right here. And yeah, hit us up. We'd love to see people building modules on Lilypad. This script should make it super easy for anyone to just make any sort of module they want. And we've got a lot more exciting things coming soon with not only DX improvements, but a lot of other things. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Hope you all had a good time. Hope you all learned a lot. And I'm looking forward to making this an even better script and building modules or really building anything on Lilypad, making it as easy as possible. Really looking forward to it and improving the DX. I'll catch all of y'all next time. Again, my name is Devlin with Lilypad Network. Peace. Have a good one. Let me send you off now.
It's time to emerge. Lilypad Network, we're here to stay, taking you on a journey in a groundbreaking way. With it. Drop the bass, feel the surge, jump into the future. It's time to emerge. Lilypad Network, we're here to stay, taking you on a journey in a groundbreaking way. With it. We're the frogs in the net, powering AI with the dubstep set. Lilypad Network, watch us rise with the beat that grooves, the tech that defines.